Hello. Welcome to my humble abode. I wonder if I'm talking loud enough. I should probably stop this clip and watch it and make sure I'm talking loud enough for the speaker to hear me. Okay, so it wasn't terrible. I'm just gonna try to remember to project my voice. So hello, my name is Erin. Thank you for clicking on this video. As the title suggests, it is a book haul. So I have 3 different piles. I have been saving these for quite a while. First pile I'll go through is what I got from the Pima Community College library sale last semester. I picked up a few things, but definitely stuff that I do not normally see in thrift stores or, you know, where else I find used books. So let's start there. So first book is going to be The Informers by Bret, Easton, Ellis. This is one I have not read. I do love Bret Easton Ellis though. I've read American Psycho, and then I've also read Less Than Zero, I think is what it's called. I'm pretty sure. I could probably just sneak a peek in this book and it'll tell me. Yep, I was right. Less Than Zero. I love his writing style. It is so fast-paced, but yet so engaging and addicting. American Psycho's a thick book and redundant, but I still never got bored reading it. So that's my first one. Next I got, let's see here. Will you focus? I got The Art Spirit by Robert Henri. So I got this, actually I got this because I knew what it was. And I knew what it was because of Mr. David Lynch. I've heard him reference this. This is what he read, you know, when he was a teenager, when he discovered he wanted to be a painter. And this is what he set his art life off of, which is, you know, smoking cigarettes and painting all day. So I got that. I got a Chuck Palahniuk book next. One thing I don't like is these, of course, have all of the old barcodes on them, you know, so they're not in complete pristine edition, you know. But where else am I gonna find dollar books? They're like this one reflecting the orange to me. Okay, so this one, I have no idea what this is about. This is Survivor by Chuck Palahniuk, but you know, that's kind of how I like to read all books, really, but Palahniuk especially, I like to go in blind. Next I got Drowned by Junot Diaz. It's marked out anyway, so it's not like you can even see it, but I have read The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, which I loved, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Next, this is a book I have read. This is probably my favorite. It is just not going to focus. It doesn't have anything. Let's see. Oh, there. If you know, you know. But this is Breakfast of Champions by Vonnegut. It is my favorite Vonnegut, but I've only read it once, and that was probably like 5 or 6 years ago, but it was a book I read in one sitting. I could not put it down. I just kept going until I finished it. So yeah, I'm very excited to reread this. I actually try to limit myself to one new Vonnegut a year, so this is definitely a way that I could start rereading, because I have read quite a few Vonnegut novels, but I've never reread one yet. So that is something I should do this year, and I think Breakfast of Champions definitely be the best place to start. This one, another one, I have no idea about it. I got it for the title alone, and that is The Rape of Art. And like I said, I have no idea what this is about, but that is typically how I really like to go into things, not knowing anything. I find I enjoy stuff more that way. So this next pile is from Friends of the Library. So every month, this organization called Friends of the Pimo Library has a sale. It's a whole weekend, and typically it is like on Friday, everything's regularly priced. Saturday is 25% off for seniors. Sunday is half price day, and then Monday is $10 a bag for the day. Me and my man like to go on Sundays. We like half off. You do have to pay the price of it being so crowded in there, so many old people. It is ridiculous. There really is just, you know, at least 3 to 4 people in every aisle, so you kind of have to move at a snail's pace. And then, you know, for whatever reason, these old people just don't get the concept of personal space, so they will like encroach on you, and I am that will not move. I refuse. If you say something to me, sure, but if you're just going to like keep pushing towards me, like I'm a wall. I'm a wall. You take that on. But the rest of the books are from 2 different trips. I believe we probably went back in like January or like February, and these books have been sitting on my floor since then, waiting for me to do this video. And then we just went today too. So I'm so proud of you, Erin. You're doing it. You're shooting it. So let's get into them. Let's start with the first trip. My favorite place in the thrift store book section, in any book section, is typically the classics. That is where I normally go to, especially with used books. So let's see, let's start off. I got 2 Thomas Hardy books. I got Far from the Maddening Crowd is the first. I've heard good things. I've heard Emmy here on BookTube talk a lot about Far from the Maddening Crowd, and the next book that I got, which is Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I have heard more about this one though, but I've heard good things about this, so I just got it. But Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. It's a book lover and a film lover. Anytime there's books in movies, or like a character is reading a book in a movie and I like that character, then that makes me want to read the book. And this is mentioned in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sharon Tate's character goes into a bookstore before she goes and sees her own film, and this is the book she talks about. This is the book, so I'm very intrigued. She loved it, so I'll probably love it as well. I hear it's heartbreaking. I'm always in to get my heart broken. Some Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre. I never thought I would read this. I never really had any interest in Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, the Bronte sisters. That just wasn't my thing. Victorian era just has never intrigued me that much. Dare I say, I've always thought it was a little boring. But what made me pick this up was it being referenced in another book. It's actually The Cider House Rules. That is an amazing novel, and it is about an orphanage where the girls read Charlotte Bronte and the boys, I want to say, read Great Expectations. I know it's some Dickens book. I can't remember off the top of my head though. But again, from that, I figure, you know, at some point, I should probably read Jane Eyre. Next, we have some Jean-Paul Sartre. So this is a play. It's No Exit, and 3 other plays. I've never read any plays by Jean-Paul Sartre. I have heard them referenced a lot. There's a YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of it. I'll try to link it in the bio. If you're into philosophy, but they have like hour long old videos, and I'm pretty sure they're just old television programs that somebody has uploaded to YouTube. But but I watched one on existentialism, and they referenced Jean-Paul Sartre's plays more than anything else. I have read Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre, his novel, and I have to say it may be the most boring book I've ever read. I really struggled to get through it, and I did not enjoy it in the normal sense, and then I also did not enjoy it in the sense of an existential way. It was just boring. It was just boring. It didn't make me think. I was just trying to get through it the whole time I was reading it, which to me says I did not like it. Next, I got a paperback. Their mass market paperbacks were really cheap, so I went out on a limb for this one. It's by Joyce Carol Oates. I have to say the only Joyce Carol Oates thing I've read is her short story, God, Wherever You're Going, There You'll Be, something like that. I'll put it here. Here's the correct answer. But that's all I've read. I've heard mixed feelings about Joyce Carol Oates. I've heard some people say she's great, and then others dislike it, not into it. Which, I mean, like, honestly, I think she's written a shitload of books, so, I mean, you can't please everybody, right? Okay, and then lastly, from that first trip, I got The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Can you read that? So I've never read an Upton Sinclair book. I got this solely based off the back of it. So it's about a slaughterhouse in the very early 20th century, and about how fucked up that was. So, you know, it sounds right up my alley. Okay, so that completes that first trip. I also do have this. This is probably weird. This probably isn't a normal person thing to have, but at my school they have a table of free stuff. It's generally magazines, but you know, I'm a sucker for free stuff, so I typically go and check it out every once in a while when I walk by it. And they had this. It is like a manual textbook that's called Journal of Child Sexual Abuse, and that actually is an area of interest of mine. I'm in film school right now, but I am going to do my master's program for counseling and psychology in probably like a year or two, and an area I really do want to focus on is sexual abuse, pedophiles, as well as, you know, helping survivors recover from that, and then also just the research around it, and just getting a more conclusive picture. So I saw that, again, weird interest that I have, so I picked it up. Now for the batch that I got today it was so busy. It was disgusting. I hated it. It was so much anxiety. That is like the main form of anxiety that I have and I've always had, is groups of people, large crowds, shopping in small areas with a lot of people just sends me through the roof of anxiety. I hate it, but it was worth it. It was worth it, and I will show you why. The Invisible Man. I have been waiting for the thrift gods to bless me. I've just been patiently waiting to find this on a shelf, and I finally did today. I finally did. I found it in kind of like a weird pile, like, you know, like everything was like normal books, but then I found this pile of really good books that were like laid like this, and I was worried that I was like, somebody was gonna come back and be like, oh, did you see these books here? And then my good conscience would not allow me to say no, and I'd have to give it back. I was worried about that the whole time. But I finally found a copy of The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. My total for the rest of the books I was going to show you was $17.50, and this book alone was worth that, and the disgusting amount of people I had to interact with. I got another Richard Wright book, Native Son. Native Son. I think it's another work of fiction. I don't really know anything about it. I've only read Black Boy, his autobiography, which I absolutely loved. He was born in 1911, the same year as my grandfather, or one of my grandfathers, and just seeing history through that lens when I had like something to actually compare it to was absolutely amazing. I do highly recommend Black Boy. Everybody should have to read that. The Harlem Renaissance literature, I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. It's so good. Next, this is one I have read. I read it probably a couple years, well actually probably like 5 years ago. Maybe it's like probably 2018 is when I read this. It is really good. It is really good, but it's definitely almost, you know, like poetry. It's kind of stream of consciousness prose that you just kind of gotta stick with, and you generally kind of get more used to it as you read it. I do highly recommend. I gave my other copy to a friend of mine, so I figured I do want this on my shelves, so I got it. This also was in that pile with the Invisible Man that I was afraid somebody was gonna come get, because like Naked Lunch and the Invisible Man, like discount day, half off day, it's gonna fly off the shelves. This is another thing that I have read before, but again, I've been wanting to reread it, and that is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. I probably read this like 9 years ago. 9 years ago, it's crazy. But yeah, I probably read this about 9 years ago. I read it because Apocalypse Now, but I didn't know it wasn't about the Vietnam War when I first read this. So I was just like kind of waiting, and it wasn't until maybe like halfway through that I realized that it was inspired by it. It wasn't like a direct depiction. So yeah, I would like to reread this. It's super short. I read it when I was probably like 18 or 19, so it couldn't have been incredibly difficult to read. So I'm looking forward to a quick little read with that one. Next two, who knows when I will read. They're two big boys, and they're both by the same man, Mr. Leo Tolstoy. I got Anna Karenina. It's a really nice edition. I will take a paperback over a hardback any day of the week. I prefer it. I love the feeling of it. I know people are gonna cringe, but you know what my favorite thing is? When I get to that point where I can like fold it over. I love it. I love paperbacks. I also love to be able to use and abuse them. It's part of reading for me. But yeah, so I got Anna Karenina, and she is pretty thick. Let's see how many pages. Oh my god, 870. 870, it doesn't even look that big. And I mean, the text also, it's not terrible. And I know that's out of focus, but it's not terrible. I got that, and then I bet you can guess the next book I got. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I think I fucked up. Because it says War and Peace 2. War and Peace 2. What the fuck does that mean? Is this like the huge novel was just broken down into shorter things? I think it is, because yeah, we're like starting at like page 700. So, God damn it, Aaron. Too excited. I bought just the second part of War and Peace when I don't have the first, so I have a pile of stuff that I like almost instantly donate back. Like the last time I went, I got Love in the Time of Cholera when I realized that I already owned it when I got home. So I put that back in my donation pile, and I think this one's gonna go too. I'm sure I'll run across a copy of War and Peace. That is one thing I love about classics, is their accessibility through thrifting and through used bookstores. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I've never wanted to read War and Peace in my life. until I watched any, again, second reference in this video, until I watched her read along, and she made me want to read War and Peace. She made me want to read it, and I'm going to, just for her, just for her. We have 3 more left. Next is Intruder in the Dust by William Faulkner. I have no idea what this is about. I will admit, I've never actually read a Faulkner before. I've heard great things. I've heard it's dry. I've heard it's hard to read, but that doesn't deter me at all. I read Sartre's Nausea. I can get through anything. I've read Naked Lunch. I can get through anything. Boring doesn't scare me. So, I figured I'd give this a go. I was just looking at these nice annotations and some math in the back. This is my favorite part about used books. I love seeing what other people have written in them. Just makes you realize how long some of these things have probably been around. Like, this book is for sure older than me. Let's see the copyright on it. It's from Palos Verdes High School. Interesting. Yeah, copyright 1948. I don't see anything after that, so 1948. Do you think this, comment down below, is this book from 1948? Next, I got this because of the controversy I've heard around it, and that is Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. This library always has a lot of D.H. Lawrence. Like, you can never tell if that's good or bad in a used place, if there's a lot of a certain author or a certain book. Because either, that means A, maybe it was really popular at some time and it's just become not popular now, or B, nobody wants to read it. So I don't know what this book is about. I'm guessing it is about Lady Chatterley's lover, but I think I'm gonna just leave that for when I read it. Like I said, I love going in blind. I love not knowing and then finding out. And last but not least, I'm gonna butcher this. I kind of don't even want to attempt saying it. The Gulag Archipelago. The Gulag Archipelago. This was another one. I don't know what this is about. I don't. I've gathered from the cover that it is about the Holocaust. Got barbed wire, people standing there. Yeah, I don't know if it's fiction. I don't know if it's a retelling precisely. I don't know. It's copyrighted in 1973. I don't know. If you know, let me know below. Is this some famous book? I don't know. I was just drawn to it. I like the cover. I like history. It's in good condition, so I got it. So that completes my first book haul on this channel. At the beginning of the year, I set a goal for myself to do 2 videos a month. I have not kept up with that. All I've uploaded, we're in April now, and all I've uploaded is an art film I made last semester. So go watch that. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to watch it. But I plan on continuing doing this. This was kind of a way for me to dip my toes in, tell myself that it's really not as hard as I'm making it out to be, and stop procrastinating, Erin. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this, I love you. Who are you? Who are you that watched to the end of this video? Please tell me. Subscribe if you want to, if you think you might like me. But otherwise, have an amazing day. Go read some books, go watch some movies.